January 17, 1943. 14,000 feet above the Solomon Islands. The sky burns copper. The cockpit glass catches the late afternoon sun like molten bronze. Captain Wilhelm Hartmann of Jagdgeschwader 251 squints through the glare, his gloved hand adjusting the throttle of his Messerschmitt Bf 109. The air at this altitude tastes thin and metallic. Below, the Pacific stretches endlessly, a blue so deep it looks black in the shadows of the cumulus towers building to the east. His wingman, Lieutenant Klaus Brenner, flies tight formation off his port side. They've been hunting for 37 minutes. Fuel gauges read half. Time is running out. Then Brenner's voice crackles through the radio, urgent and clipped. Amerikaner, 3 Uhr hoch. 3 o'clock high. Hartmann's eyes snap right and upward. There, a single fighter, alone, silhouetted against a wall of cloud like a dark insect suspended in amber light. The aircraft banks lazily, seemingly unaware. Hartmann's pulse quickens. A lone American fighter this far from any known base, without escort, without support. It should be easy. It should be quick. He rolls his Messerschmitt into pursuit. Brenner follows. 2 veteran pilots, 43 combined kills between them. The American is already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. But within 4 minutes, everything Wilhelm Hartmann believes about air combat, about altitude, about speed, about the inevitable mathematics of interception, will dissolve like smoke in a slipstream. By the winter of 1943, the Luftwaffe and the Imperial Japanese Naval Air Service had come to know the American pilot as a capable adversary, but predictable. American training emphasized teamwork, mutual support, formation discipline. The Japanese respected the ruggedness of American machines. The Wildcats could absorb punishment that would shred a Zero. The Germans acknowledged the industrial scale of American production. But there persisted, among Axis aviators, a quiet arrogance, the belief that American pilots lacked the individual artistry, the instinctive ferocity, the killer elegance that defined the true ace. German doctrine worshipped energy tactics: dive, strike, climb away. Speed and altitude were sacraments. The Japanese prized maneuverability, turning fights into spiraling duels of agility. Both traditions produced legends, men like Hans Joachim Marseille, who danced through the African skies with balletic precision, or Saburo Sakai, whose eyes could spot an enemy formation 30 miles distant. These were artists of death, and they believed, correctly for the most part, that American pilots lacked the qualitative edge over their American counterparts. But war is an unforgiving teacher. And in the winter of 1943, scattered across a dozen theaters, a new kind of American pilot was emerging. Not the formation flyer, not the textbook tactician, but the outlier, the ghost, the one who rewrote the rules in real time and vanished before you understood what had happened. This is the story of one such ghost, and the men who chased him into the clouds and came back changed.
Hartmann closes to 800 meters. The American fighter, a P-38 Lightning he realizes now, those distinctive twin booms unmistakable, continues its gentle banking turn. Perhaps the pilot is lost. Perhaps his radio is dead. Hartmann arms his guns. The Messerschmitt's nose-mounted 20mm cannon and twin 7.92mm machine guns are hungry. At 600 meters, he expects the American to brake, to dive, to run. Americans always run when caught alone. The Lightning does not run. Instead, impossibly, it accelerates, not with the frantic desperation of a fleeing animal, but with a smooth, almost casual increase in speed. The twin Allison engines roar to full war emergency power. The Lightning pulls away, not dramatically, but steadily, opening the gap as if the Messerschmitt is flying through syrup. Hartmann shoves his throttle to the firewall. The Daimler-Benz engine screams. He gains nothing. The American is pulling away in level flight. This should not be possible. The Bf-109 G6 can reach 621 kilometers per hour at this altitude. He knows this. He has flown this machine through a dozen engagements, yet the Lightning is simply faster. Brenner's voice crackles again. Ist zu schnell, wir verlieren ihn. Too fast, we're losing him. Hartmann makes a decision born of desperation and pride. He pushes the stick forward, diving to build speed, intending to convert altitude into velocity and close the gap in a slashing attack from above. It is textbook energy fighting. It has worked 100 times before. The Lightning sees him coming. What happens next will later appear in Hartmann's after-action report with clinical brevity. Enemy aircraft executed vertical evasion maneuver of unprecedented character. But the clinical language cannot capture what he witnesses. The Lightning does not turn, does not dive away. Instead, it pulls up, a sudden violent climb, nearly vertical, the twin engines clawing at the sky with a power that seems to defy physics. The fighter climbs at an angle Hartmann has only seen in rocket-powered prototypes. It climbs until it is a black cross against the sun, until Hartmann loses it in the glare, until his own Messerschmitt, bleeding speed in its own climb, shudders on the edge of a stall. He levels off, scans the sky. The American is gone. Not shot down, not damaged, simply gone, swallowed by altitude and light. Brenner's voice returns, quieter now, almost awed. Ist einfach in den Wolken verschwunden. He just vanished into the clouds. They circle for another 5 minutes, fuel gauges dropping toward critical. They find nothing. On the flight back to Rabaul, neither man speaks. The P-38 Lightning was not supposed to be a dogfighter. Lockheed designed it as a long-range interceptor, a bomber escort, a platform for the kind of straight-line speed and firepower that could dominate a battlespace through raw energy advantage. Its twin boom configuration gave it distinctive looks, but also strategic gifts. The central nacelle housed 4 .50 caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon, all clustered in the nose, giving it a concentration of firepower unmatched by any contemporary fighter. No wing-mounted guns, no convergence issues. Point the nose, press the trigger, erase the target.
But its greatest secret was not firepower. It was power itself. The twin Allison V1710 engines, supercharged and intercooled, could produce over 3,000 horsepower combined when pushed to war emergency settings. This gave the Lightning a level flight speed exceeding 400 miles per hour at altitude, faster than almost any Axis fighter it would encounter in 1943. More critically, it gave the Lightning energy authority, the ability to dictate the terms of engagement, to accelerate out of danger, to zoom climb beyond pursuit, to turn a defensive situation into an offensive one simply by applying throttle. American pilots learned, slowly at first, then with growing confidence, that they did not need to dogfight. The Lightning could outrun the Zero. It could outclimb the Messerschmitt. It could outdive the FW-190. If an enemy got on your tail, you did not turn to fight. You accelerated, you climbed. You used the engines like a magician uses misdirection, creating distance, creating angles, creating time until the enemy's advantage evaporated into confusion. To Axis pilots raised on the religion of the turning fight, of close-in knife work, of dancing wingtip to wingtip until one man made a fatal mistake, this was heresy. This was not fighting, this was fleeing. But fleeing, as Americans were discovering, looked a lot like winning if the enemy could never catch you. 3 weeks after Hartmann's encounter, a similar scene unfolds over the Coral Sea. Lieutenant Commander Takeo Shibata, flying a Mitsubishi A6M0 from the carrier Zuikaku, spots a lone P-38 at 12,000 feet. The American is strafing a downed pilot in the water, a fellow Japanese aviator clinging to a life raft. Rage floods Shibata's chest. He dives to attack. The Lightning sees him. Instead of fleeing, it turns toward him. Shibata smiles. The Americans are learning aggression. Good. A head-on pass. Shibata's Zero is lighter, more agile. He will turn inside the American after the merge and end this quickly. They close at a combined speed exceeding 600 miles per hour. Shibata's thumb hovers over the cannon trigger. At 400 meters, both pilots fire. Tracers crisscross the sky. Shibata's rounds spark off the Lightning's wing. The Americans' rounds miss entirely, stitching the air 3 meters to Shibata's left. They pass. Shibata throws the Zero into a tight left turn, maximum deflection, expecting the Lightning to turn right or dive, giving him a clean shot at the tail. The Lightning does not turn. It extends, straight and level, engines screaming, opening the distance with impossible speed. Shibata levels out and pursues, throttle wide open. The Zero's Sakai engine, normally docile and efficient, roars at its limits. He gains nothing. The American pulls away, not dramatically, but steadily, like a boat receding from shore.
Shibata follows for 2 minutes, 3, 5. The Lightning maintains a constant 800-meter gap, never closing, never opening, as if tethered by an invisible rope. Shibata realizes with a cold clarity that the American is toying with him. The Lightning could accelerate further, could vanish if it wished. Instead, it stays just out of reach, just beyond effective firing range, leading Shibata farther and farther from the carrier fleet. Then, without warning, the Lightning pulls up, another of those impossible vertical climbs, and by the time Shibata follows, pulling his stick back and bleeding his speed into altitude, the American has reversed course and is diving away in the opposite direction, already 2 kilometers distant. Shibata returns to Zukaku with a full ammunition load and a gnawing emptiness in his chest. He writes in his journal that night, "Fought ghosts today, could not touch him, could not even make him afraid." By mid-1943, reports like these multiply. In the Southwest Pacific, over Europe, in the China-Burma-India theater, Axis pilots encounter American fighters, P-38s, but also the newer P-47 Thunderbolts and P-51 Mustangs that refuse to fight on Axis terms. The Americans have learned what the engineers always knew, that speed and altitude are forms of invincibility, that energy management is the supreme tactic, that the pilot who controls the engagement's tempo controls its outcome. German aces begin to speak of the Wolkenjäger, the cloud hunters, Americans who appear, strike, and disappear into the sky's vertical dimension before retaliation is possible. Japanese pilots coin their own term, Kage Hikoki, shadow aircraft, fighters that exist in peripheral vision, always escaping, always beyond grasp. The psychological effect is corrosive. Axis pilots, trained to trust their skills, their instincts, their hard-won experience, find those advantages nullified by sheer mechanical performance. The American does not need to outturn you. He does not need to outfight you. He simply needs to be faster, higher, and willing to exploit those margins ruthlessly. Hartmann, reassigned to the Eastern Front in late 1943, will shoot down another 62 Soviet aircraft before war's end. He will survive the war as one of history's highest-scoring aces. But in private conversations with fellow pilots, recorded in post-war interviews, he will return again and again to that January afternoon over the Solomons. "We thought we were hunting," he says in a 1956 interview with the German aviation magazine, "but the American was never prey. We were flies buzzing around a hawk. The hawk simply chose not to strike." There is a deeper truth here, one that transcends tactics and machinery. The Lightning, the Thunderbolt, the Mustang, these were not merely faster or more powerful than their Axis counterparts. They were expressions of a different philosophy of war.
German and Japanese aviation doctrine emerged from scarcity, limited fuel, limited industrial capacity, limited numbers. Every fighter had to be a precision instrument, every pilot an artist maximizing the potential of a scarce resource. This produced magnificent machines, the Zero's legendary agility, the Bf-109's lethal efficiency, but it also produced fragility. Machines pushed to their design limits, pilots expected to perform miracles because replacements were scarce. American doctrine emerged from abundance. The P-38 was not the lightest fighter.
It was not the most agile, but it did not need to be. It was fast because it had two massive engines. Fuel consumption was not a constraint when tankers crossed the Atlantic by the hundreds. It was durable because American factories could afford heavy armor, redundant systems, self-sealing fuel tanks. It was confident because the pilot knew that if this aircraft was lost, 10 more were already on the production line. This abundance was not merely material, it was philosophical. The American pilot did not need to win every dogfight through superior skill, because American strategy did not depend on individual heroism. The pilot's job was to survive, to return, to fly again tomorrow. If that meant running from a fight, so be it. If that meant using engine power to escape rather than guns to destroy, so be it. Victory was not measured in personal glory, but in cumulative effect. Missions flown, bombers escorted, targets destroyed, and yes, pilots who came home. To Axis aviators, this looked like cowardice. Americans ran, they avoided fair fights, they used their machines as crutches rather than their skills. But war is not fair. War is not a duel. War is a system, and the system that produces more pilots, more fuel, more aircraft, more second chances, that system wins. April 1944, over Hanover. Oberleutnant Franz Stigler, a Luftwaffe ace with 22 kills, intercepts a formation of B-17 bombers returning from a raid. The bombers are damaged, struggling, easy targets, but escorting them are P-51 Mustangs, sleek, silver, almost beautiful in their lethal simplicity. Stigler attacks from below, lining up on a straggling B-17. Before he can fire, a Mustang materializes on his tail, seemingly from nowhere. Stigler brakes hard left, pulling 6 Gs, his vision graying at the edges. The Mustang follows effortlessly, its Merlin engine howling. Stigler dives, the Mustang follows. He climbs, the Mustang follows. He tries a split S, a hammerhead stall, a barrel roll, every maneuver in his repertoire, every trick that has saved his life a dozen times before. The Mustang stays with him, not perfectly. The American pilot is good, but not exceptional. Stigler knows he is the better stick, but it does not matter.
Every time Stigler maneuvers, he bleeds energy, bleeds speed, bleeds options. The Mustang, with its laminar flow wing and powerful engine, recovers faster, climbs faster, accelerates faster. After 90 seconds, an eternity in air combat, Stigler realizes he is going to die, not because the American is better, but because his F-190, for all its virtues, cannot sustain this pace. The engine is overheating, his fuel is critical, he is out of altitude and out of ideas. The Mustang closes to firing range. Stigler braces for the impact of .50 caliber rounds, but the shots do not come. Instead, the Mustang pulls alongside, barely 20 meters away. Stigler can see the American pilot clearly, young, goggled, expressionless. The American looks at him. Then, inexplicably, he rocks his wings, the universal signal for break off, and pulls away, accelerating into the distance with that same casual, unstoppable speed. Stigler limps back to base on fumes. He does not report the encounter. He tells no one that an American spared him, but he writes in his logbook that night, "Outfought by a machine. Mercy from a stranger. The war is over, even if we do not yet know it." By 1945, the myth of Axis air superiority is dead. Not killed in any single battle, but eroded encounter by American pilots who redefined what air combat meant. The Wolkenjäger, the shadow aircraft, the ghosts who vanished into clouds, they were never invincible. They were shot down in numbers. They made mistakes. They died. But they changed the mathematics of survival. An Axis pilot in 1942 could reasonably expect to down an opponent through skill and daring. By 1944, that same pilot faced Americans who could simply decline the fight, who could dictate terms, who could exploit the one advantage no amount of training could overcome: the engineering superiority of a nation that built 300,000 aircraft in 4 years, while its enemies built a fraction of that number.
The Lightning, the Thunderbolt, the Mustang, they were not better fighters in the classical sense. They were future fighters, representing a doctrine that would dominate air combat for the next 80 years. Speed over maneuverability, energy over position, system over individual. The jet age, the missile age, the stealth age, all trace their lineage back to those twin-engine American fighters that learned to vanish into clouds. Somewhere over the Pacific, January 1943, the pilot of that lone P-38, his name lost to incomplete records, perhaps a lieutenant from the 475th Fighter Group, perhaps a captain from the 49th, levels off at 18,000 feet. His fuel gauges read half. Behind him, 2 German fighters have given up the chase. He does not feel victorious. He feels methodical. He saw them coming, applied throttle, climbed when they dove, extended when they pursued. Textbook. He did not need to shoot them down. He needed to survive. He will fly 43 more missions before being rotated stateside. He will never become an ace. His name will not appear in history books, but he will live to marry, to raise children, to die in 1987 at the age of 73, never having told his grandchildren about the afternoon he vanished into the clouds with 2 killers on his tail.
In the end, that is the secret. Not heroism, not genius, but the quiet application of overwhelming mechanical advantage by ordinary men who understood that survival is victory. The Axis fought with artistry and honor and desperate brilliance. America fought with engines and fuel and the cold logic of industrial mathematics. The artists flew beautiful patterns in the sky until they ran out of paint. The engineers kept flying long after the canvas was full. And when the war ended, it was the engineers who came home.